what is your take on this whole protecting your peace term?
Protecting my peace, the trendy thing on the internet now.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating how something that sounds good can be mistaken for truth. Myron Golden had one that he always, I wouldn't say attacks, but disproves with the whole time is money. And his take is, no, time is infinitely more valuable than money, which is accurate.
Yeah.
But it's normal for all of us to go, time is money. And feel like that's true. One, because guys richer than us, or one of our favorite characters in a movie has said it. And so it must be true, right? And I think it's a similar thing with the protecting my peace thing. Words are important. Words are how we get what's going on within here, and somebody else is within here. And that's how somebody else is within there comes in our within here. Meaning we transfer who we are to other people through our words and our actions. And so if words are that powerful, it's important to know what words do, what words mean. And so if we break that down, protect my peace. Protecting my peace, to protect implies at least three components. It implies there is the thing that you're protecting. So if I have a home and I have this very precious jewel in it, right? A jewel that's worth $1 billion, right? There's the jewel, the valuable thing that I'm protecting. Then there's the protector, which is me, the owner of the thing, right? And then there's a third component, which is the aggressor, right? So why does that matter, though? Why is protecting your peace? It sounds so good. Should people be peaceful? Of course. Should people experience peace? Of course.
Right.
But the protecting your peace thing in the way that I see used today is that it creates a predator-prey relationship, and it makes the person who's aiming to protect the peace a prey. And if there's prey, there has to be a predator. So the question then becomes, who's the predator?
Right.
The predator is now their past. The predators, let's use it in the lens of modern day romantic relationships. The predator then becomes the one experience they had with a bad ex, or the pattern of experiences they had with the opposite sex. And so then they go on and say, okay, well, the predator, the aggressor that I'm protecting this precious jewel called peace from is women as a category or men as a category.
Right.
And so the problem with that is that you're constantly in a state of being prey. And so the trendiness of protecting your peace becomes, I am a prey in this brutal world of predators, and the predators are now the opposite sex. And so we then look at every interaction, every hello, every, oh my goodness, I'm kind of liking this person, but I'm a prey and they're a predator. Fundamentally, the world is filled with predators, and I need to make sure that a predator doesn't consume me. And so there is an aspect of that that can be true, but it's only half the truth, because the other half of the truth is that you're not the prey. And that's the part of the protecting the peace conversation that I find to have a lack of understanding in it. Yeah. You can't go around the world going, everyone else is the issue. Every outcome of my life is due to my environment, and I had no part to play in it. Because then that goes into another trendy thing, which is healing, right? And that's, again, why words are so powerful, because we can't know what we're talking about. We can't know what's truth. If I say protect my peace, you interpret that as the way you think it means, and you're doing your version of that, and it sounds good, it has good intentions, but anything taken to an extreme will always lead to chaos and imbalance. Right. And the universe's number one law is equilibrium, balance, homeostasis. So if something goes out of homeostasis, let's say everybody's saying peace over everything, what they're doing is that they're making relationships as a category predatory. Being with other people, trusting other people, has an inherent pain associated with it, because people as a category cause me pain. They're predators. And so I need to guard my heart. I need to be defensive. And that's what I mean by they're a prey of their past. And so every future outcome is based on avoiding what happened in the past. So they can't conceptualize a future reality that has the things they want. The happy relationship that they deep down desire, and go, okay, well, the dating market is just not. And again, that is a factor. The environment cannot be ignored, but it's only half the truth.
Right. Because
everything in nature is always a balancing act. But it's only 51, let's say it's 49% environment and 51% individual. That's why you can have a person like people historically, everybody in the same small town, there's one, let's use an economic example, there's one rich guy within the place. It's like, well, what is the difference between him and, everyone else?
Right.
Right? It's, he thinks differently. The 51% of the individual of who he is, he perceives reality differently. He doesn't go through reality as prey.
Right.
Right. So, when you don't go through reality as prey, but you respect and understand that the environment does play a factor, then you're more proactive and you're more willing to be accountable, because the only thing we can control in life is our actions and our attitudes. Yeah. Can't control the environment. You can influence your world, but you can't control it. So, if I'm the only thing I can control, then I can't go, which is so common today as well. You get back what you put out. Okay, so if I get back what I put out and I'm noticing that I'm getting a pattern of situations I don't desire, then I don't know. I'm not putting that out though. It's all environmental.
Right. That ain't on me.
That's not on me though.
Yeah.
And that's what men and women are unknowingly doing with good intent. But protecting my peace is closer to protecting my pain. Right. Protecting my pain of the only way to transcend you could call it trauma, is another trendy thing. The only way to transcend the trauma is to transcend the thing that you thought was bigger than you. But you can't transcend it if you never face it. So if I go, for example, let me think if I can think of a story. I say when I was in my late teens, early 20s, I remember being deathly afraid of approaching women and even, I'd even say getting in relationships as a whole. That was less fear and more, they're just things I didn't want to have regret on. But let's take the approaching a woman thing. I remember the first time that I can remember in terms of approaching a woman, I was like, there was this girl from a class of mine, and, I thought she was cute, and I didn't like the fact that I could not bring myself to go say something, right? Because I'm like, back then, same, growing pains. What do I say? And all the things that you think matter when you don't know anything. Right. And I remember day in, day out, let's say I was in that class twice a week, thinking, man, it wasn't as deep as I'm making it, to be fair, but what was deep to me was the repeated cycle of, I want to do something, but I'm too cowardly and fearful to do it.
Yeah.
And so that dug at me. And there were other women I'd see around, and I couldn't do it. And that dug at me, like, man, I'm sick and tired of this cycle. And so one day, I mustered up the courage. Class rung out. She happened to be by herself walking out. I go over, and I can't even remember what I said because it was terrible. Right. I remember feeling quite literally like my brain turned off, and it was like that's why I have the memory like a zombie. And I remember her face going, almost like a confused look, and I don't know, I think I'm good, or something like that, and then walked away. And the irony in that is I left feeling so elated. I was on cloud 10, because what it was not the girl.
Yeah.
I just was sick and tired of the feeling of not being able to conquer this damn problem. Mm-hmm. So when we say transcend trauma, we have to understand that people are going, okay, let's say a man did this to me, I'm going to pray. A woman did this to me, I'm going to pray. So I'm going to avoid men going their own way. Or I'm going to avoid men or resent them and only use them for their resources, which, is the consciousness of a lot of modern women. And so they don't understand that they've become a puppet of their pain. Right? Every action, every interaction is based upon the fear that they'll be betrayed. And so because I don't want to ever be betrayed again, like the last time I opened my heart, I'm just going to use you. I'm going to reduce myself and reduce you and reduce our relationship to something transactional or something where I'm focusing on having more power over you. And so relationships have become a leverage game. I want more power and no sacrifice.
Right.
Because many people may have made sacrifices and got burned. Right. And so we're all fearful of being betrayed. Mm-hmm. We're in a generation where we feel like nobody's trustworthy. What does it mean to be trustworthy? It means that you will remain the same indefinitely. You won't change. When you trust something, it's because you assume it won't change. Even if you can actually trust somebody who's a thief. You can trust that they'll continue to steal. But you can actually have less trust for somebody who has only stolen one time and gotten caught. Because now you don't know how many times they were presenting themselves as something, and then you caught them doing something that was out of character with that thing.
Yeah.
And now all of the trust and identity that you associated with them becomes inconsistent. You're like, well, how many more times did you ever do it? It turns into chaos, destruction. Mm-hmm. Whereas if somebody says, I'm a thief, I steal all the time. Matter of fact, I steal every Tuesday and Thursday.
You're gonna trust that every Tuesday and Thursday.
And you're gonna move accordingly.
Yeah.
Right. One thing I know for sure is Billy Bob will steal on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so I will prepare where I won't extend certain graces, right? Because I know, like, the day is long that Billy Bob will steal shit on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Right.
Right. And so oftentimes we misconstrue what trust means. It just means don't violate my expectation. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. So the protecting your peace thing is realizing that I can't rest my peace in peace. Defining peace is the only one I haven't. Protect, we've talked about. It's self-evident. And peace is a whole different thing. I think what people mean by that is things being stable and going the way they want. That's usually what people mean by peace. Very few people have actually true inner peace. It's very difficult to obtain. Like true, like Christ level internal peace.
Yeah.
What that means is that my world is fairly, I know what's coming. There are no curveballs of you catch somebody calling your girl or your man is out at 1 a.m. without like curveballs, that deception, lies.
Yeah.
That's usually what people mean.
Right.
No betrayal. I can't betray can't betray yourself. But in the way they think about it, it's like I can't betray myself. So if it's just me, then I can control my emotional state because I can control my environment.
Right.
But if I allow another person into my world, or if I enter somebody else's world, our environments intertwine, and I introduce something I can't control, which is another human being. Mm-hmm. Which means if I can't control them, then it's hard for me to predict them. But what if every human being you've encountered before you felt like has betrayed you? Then you start to go, humans are untrustworthy.
Right.
And again, that's half true. The problem is that we don't want to go, how did I contribute to my own demise?
Yeah.
And I don't mean how do I contribute to my own demise by going, well, I need to look for the red flags better. You're still making yourself a prey. It's, I wanted the traits within that person that I saw. Mm. Or how am I doing that thing that I claim they did to me in other contexts? Yeah. Right? So if it's like, oh, women are always playing games. Okay, let's define playing games. Let's use one I heard more recently. Women can't love unconditionally, right? That's a common one. Men can love more unconditionally because when a man is down and out, the woman will leave him, right? And down and out usually means financially. Yeah. Like, so if he loses his job, and so it's like, I want a woman that when I'm down or when I'm when I hit a momentary snag and things get hard,
she's stick around.
Right. Yeah. She doesn't betray me.
Right.
She doesn't sleep with my best friend. She does not randomly leave. She's not hiding stuff from me. Right. Betrayal.
Right.
Right. And so guys have falsely concluded, which we talked about in the last podcast episode, drawing false conclusions from very little data, that, okay, men are more trustworthy because they don't leave women or they don't keep women based on their resources. They keep women based on love. Right. And so that's, again, the universe's first law. It's equilibrium. Right. So we got to go, okay, is that a truth in every context? If it's not a truth in every context, then it's not a law of reality. It's a perspective. Yeah. So then we go, okay, well, what's the balance point of that from the woman's point of view? Right. Well, the balance point of that is that men, I heard an example, a content creator said of a guy will take a cutie from McDonald's and bring her under his wing and treat her right and da-da-da-da. But then the question is, what does treat her right mean? And are there no requirements of her? Right. First and foremost, a guy is not taking a woman he perceives as unattractive for McDonald's. One of the first requirements is her sexual attractiveness. So let's just keep it 1,000. Right. Let's keep it balanced and truthful. Mm-hmm. Right. So the first variable and factor in determining whether a guy will take a homeless woman out the street is how sexually attractive is she. And so the next thing is, okay, she's sexually attractive, but how willing is she to give you access to her body? Right. So let's say she is sexually attractive, but he's like, come on, roll with me. And he goes, I'll trade you resources in exchange for access to your sexual companionship. That's what the average guy is thinking. Now, nobody wants to call it what it is. Right. But when that guy is quote unquote loving that woman, there's an underlying trade going on. Now, a lot of guys don't want to be explicit about it and go, hey, I'll take care of certain things if you take care of certain things. Right? But they're still operating under that guise. So if we want to really test unconditional love like that content creator was suggesting, well, we'd really need to go and go, okay, well, what if that woman did everything for the man that he was doing for her? So we're going to make it an even trade. So he builds her up, right? She started being able to, she builds a business for herself, let's say. And now she's going to make, okay, I'm going to give you this like you gave it to me. So I'm going to buy you things. I'm going to, right. The only thing I'm going to stop doing is having sex with you. Right. Most guys would leave that woman after a while. Or step out on the relationship. And so from that woman's perspective, you got to go, well, he betrayed me. Men can't love unconditionally because when sex is off the table, they switch up. When my beauty isn't where it used to be, it switches up. But even that's half the story, because you do have people who can love in what people are thinking of as unconditionally. But the reason they can do that is because the internal characteristics is what connects that relationship, not the looks of the woman or the resources of the man.
Right.
Do those things matter? Yes, they matter. But we can't keep looking at these imbalanced conversations. Mm-hmm. That's what's causing the delusion and the conflict.
It's like seeing one side of the spectrum, not the full picture.
And why would I not want to see the full picture?
Because I don't want to know the truth.
And why wouldn't I want to know the truth?
Because then I'd have to take accountability.
Bingo. I'd have to go, man, because it feels so good to say I'm the prey. Mm-hmm. You get 1 million people going around, yes, right? Like women, right? Or brothers be like, yeah, man, it is what it is, man, mm-hmm. Right? And you get validated and acceptance in your lie.
Yeah.
Like Roy Masters, a brilliant guy, he said when people are guilty, to deal with the guilt, to deal with not having to take accountability, they find other guilty people to be around to remove the shame.
Yeah.
So if I am stealing and I'm feeling bad about stealing from someone, right, I can admit that I'm wrong, take the pain of recognizing within myself that, dang, I allowed myself to become somebody I don't even want to be around, mm-hmm. and who I don't want around me. And that hurts. That hurts our pride. That hurts our self-image. And it takes real humility, and we have to rebuild and atone and all these things. Or I could just go around other people that are stealing from other people. And then I'll be around people like, it's not so bad, bro. It's not so bad. We all steal. We all got to steal sometimes. Then we rationalize. And then the shame of the activity goes away because everybody around you is doing it too. Yeah. And so the guilt is still there, but the shame is gone. But the guilt is super suppressed. But it's still gnawing and it's still influencing the behaviors. Because on the core, what you're doing is something wrong. And how do we know? Because you don't want other people around you to do it.
Right.
So if you don't want to be surrounded by someone like yourself, then it's something to look in the mirror about. Yeah. Right. And so we go, well, I'm going to surround with people like me, but I'm not going to trust them either because they're doing the stuff I'm doing.
Right.
Right. And so you get in a situation where you're in the mental landscape that we find so many people, unfortunately, are in right now. Mm-hmm. I'm doing a lot of the things in other contexts that I'm complaining about in the other person. Mm-hmm. So guys are heavily leveraged on female looks and physical attractiveness, mm-hmm. and are ignoring high quality women that aren't as pretty, quote unquote. right? Ideally, you want both. If you can get both, you develop yourself into a person that could get access to both. But going 90% of the reason I'm with a woman is because of the status I'll get from being seen with her, then complaining that she's lacking other qualities, or a woman going, I'm only going to be with a man because of his final resources, and then complaining because he's lacking other qualities. That would sustain the dynamic. It's like, well, you can't have that imbalance. Right? So going back to protecting the peace, really what it is I don't want to face my fears. I don't want to be betrayed again. I don't want to be hurt again. And so you're leading your life through pain. And if we took it from the relationship context, and we had a child, and we were a parent to a child, and, you know, I have a son, and he's like, Dad, let's use the example from earlier. I was afraid of approaching women, and the first approach didn't go the way I expected. And so I could have interpreted that as, man, if I was blank, she would have wanted me. Right? And I'm prey. She's the predator. She rejected me, and it's because of her, and it's because I wasn't blessed with a certain height, and it's because I'm not whatever. Like, insert whatever you want to insert there. It's because I'm not rich. Even though there are examples of all those things and people having all those experiences you desire without the things that you're saying that are blocking you, frankly, right? So it's like, okay, but what happened instead? Because I had mentorship at the time. It's your fault, Buddha. Don't assume that you know everything you could know. You don't have all the factors of why she said no to you. There's so many factors. You need more sample size. You need more reps. When you talk to 1,000 women, if all 1,000 of them reject you and it's the exact same pattern, even then you can't draw a conclusion. Then now you have data. So now you can go, it's definitely me. Right?
It's stamped.
Right. It's not that now women definitely don't want me. No, I am definitely doing something or showing up in a certain way.
That's repulsing.
That's repulsing 1,000 women.
Yeah.
And then I go, okay, maybe I need some help. Maybe I need or I've had 1,000 sales calls and nobody wanted to buy. Maybe it's your product. You know, you're like, hey, do you want to buy my feces? And 1,000 people said, you're like, man, people just don't have any money right now.
Right, there's some high quality feces. I don't get it.
The economy is rough. Right, we have to have that natural balance.
Yeah.
And it's 51% us.
Yeah.
It's 49% environment. If you want to, it's probably a far higher percentage just than environment.
Yeah.
But for those who are still in the environmental paradigm, I want to give them it's 49% the environment. Right? It's not your fault. But at a certain point, we got to go, okay. All right, I'm successfully protecting my peace, meaning people are just kicking in, Laurel, people are just kicking down your door. Give me your peace. Give me your peace. And you're like, no, I'm going to protect it. No. Right. and guys, guys, women aren't even checking for. You know, yeah, I'm out here protecting my peace, man. Man, a girl wouldn't even spit on you. Like, you're get real. Nobody's trying to disturb your peace, brother. Women weren't checking for you before your peace stopped getting protected. You just don't like getting rejected, but you don't want to take any accountability on why you're getting rejected, why you're not getting the level of treatment that you desire.
Right.
Right? We got to balance it. A relationship is reciprocal. I cannot go up to somebody and say, everything should be, you should give me everything I want from you, and what you want from me doesn't matter. If let's say I walked up to a woman and said, hey, I want this from you, this from you, this from you, this from you, this from you. And she says, okay. And she just gives me everything that I desire from her. Right. And then she goes, okay, cool. Can I have this from you, this from you, this from you, this from you, this from you? And you go, wait, why do you want stuff from me?
Right.
Or vice versa. A woman wants this from you, this from you, this from you, this from you. And then the guy says, okay. And then he's like, I want this from you. Wait, why do you want anything from me? It's imbalanced. We can't have something for nothing. If that continues and let's say I'm the only one getting what I want, it's going to end.
Right.
But if we want something to work long term, we must happily reciprocate. Whatever that looks like for that dynamic, right? Depending on each person's value system. But compatibility is what we're seeking. But we can't get in this mindset of the world is the enemy, women are the enemy, men are the enemy, and have this separation focus where I'm perfect and everybody on planet Earth is imperfect. Mm-hmm. And until I can meet another perfect human like myself, a red flagless person like myself, right? Then, right, I'm so perfect. I'm so amazing. Mm-hmm. And then we have all these people on the internet, right, that nobody actually wants to be around in real life. A lot of these people are like loners. Yeah. And they're telling you about what you should do to have better relationships. Mm-hmm. When no one likes them. Right. It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Bro, nobody likes you.
That's mean.
Yes.
But it be true.
Girl, nobody wants to hang around you.
Yeah.
Because we have to balance it. We can't. Now we're in delusion land. Like, I don't need nobody. It's about me and my peace. I am too good for humanity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is how people be these days.
Everybody's the problem, but I'm perfect. Mm-hmm. I'm like, when are we gonna get to a place I'm messed up too? Other people are messed up too. And it's not about I need to be in a perfect place of healing and the other person must be perfectly healed and have experienced the adequate amount of therapy and it's like, who are you to judge what that is?
People do be posting like I've seen on the women's side of, you know.
Like what?
Like come to me healed already because I don't want to deal with.
Yeah. Because I'm perfect. People don't realize that's what they're saying. They don't realize
they saying that.
Right.
They but it's like, come to me healed, but no, I'm not healed. But come to me healed already because I don't want to deal with whatever you got going on.
But that's the thing. People think relationships are about not having to deal with anything. And so if you go, well, anything that I have to deal with is attacking my peace. Mm-hmm. So it's better to isolate. But the problem with that is that there is still a one-sided thing. Mm-hmm. There's a lot you're going to get from that dynamic. So much good. So much good. And we go, I want all the good with none of the challenges. Mm-hmm. So much good comes from a dope friendship, a sincere, non-betrayal focused, where does not mean there are no challenges. That doesn't mean there are no disagreements. But both people have to no longer think the other person is fundamentally the enemy, and relationships are the cause of their suffering. Other people are the cause of their suffering. Right. I gotta go, wait, how am I causing other people's suffering? And let me challenge me. And I'm not extending the expectation of perfectionism on everybody I encounter. Because what I'm simultaneously doing is making myself perfect when we all know ourselves. We all know none of that is true. Mm-hmm. We know in that protecting of peace things, there are plenty of things you say you're going to do, you don't do. There are plenty of things you shouldn't be doing that you do and hide. There are plenty of people you claim you're not seeing that you see. Right? And it's like, okay, own that shit. But to project in the world I'm some perfect being, and it's when they're healed. And as I said, that story of that guy, I like, what do you feel your biggest challenges in relationships? Oh, it's healing. And, I feel like if they haven't healed their thing. Yes, there is a accountability a person has to have on themselves. Mm-hmm. But then when do we become the judge of everybody's quote unquote healing? Mm-hmm. There are plenty of people I've met. Amazing relationships. They were never perfect when you met them. So what does a world where relationships are commonplace again look like? Everybody's healed. What does healed mean? And if I took a panel of 1,000 people, they'd say something different. Because you never know what you're not healed from until it gets triggered. Mm-hmm. And it can only get triggered from interactions. Mm-hmm. But don't demonize the person and go, everything is on them, 100% is on them, and they're the problem, they're a predator, I'm a prey. And if I'm a prey, I need to avoid the predators. And who are the predators? Men and women in relationships, and humanity, and the planet Earth, and the Republican, and the Democrat, and it's predator-prey. And the beauty of being prey is that now I can demonize the predator, because it's not my fault. I'm innocent, and I'm just trying to do what's right. Mm-hmm. And these predators keep trying to get me. And so, if I have to destroy them, if I have to make a YouTube channel denouncing them, if I have to, warn other prey like me about not interacting with them, right, we realize that we're actually going against nature. Right? Balance is nature. Meaning they're dual. But we're in a reality now where people want to go, it's not dual. It's all about me and my peace. And people are inherent enemies trying to attack it. But then the two people here who are trying to protect their peace could have had a dope situation. Mm-hmm. But if I'm thinking from a protection standpoint, from a prey standpoint, then all I can see is the things that could steal my peace. What people call red flags. Right. And so I'm only seeing the predator in everybody. Mm-hmm. Everybody I go around, they'll see predator, predator, predator.
That explains too why people in relationships, like if they do get to that point, at least they like, oh, I gotta, just in case you're trying to get me, I gotta make sure I get you first, like da-da-da. Like,
power dynamics.
Yeah.
Power dynamic, because I don't want to be betrayed.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like, who wants to keep getting betrayed? It's just understanding that no matter how much you get betrayed, you didn't not have a part to play. Right. We can't both say we get what we put out, and karma and law of attraction and manifestation and all this stuff that's trendy. Mm-hmm. We're powerful, we're gods, we're creators, we're this, we're that, and then simultaneously go around saying we're prey. We're prey. The world is my master. Right. And if only my master had mercy on me, then I could just have a good life. But it is what it is.
And I don't think people also realize, like, say you having troubles with relationships or whatever the case, like they don't realize how the ways they operating in other areas of their life are like what's at the effect of how whatever part this part of their life is going. So you thinking, oh, that that piece of merchandise that I realized I walked out with it, but I never took it back in, like, or da 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 da. You don't know how that ricochet and, like, affect different parts of your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a super valid point. I remember when I was younger and maybe early 20s, and I assumed that not sharing information was the same thing as not lying. Right. Meaning, if I was seeing a woman and I was seeing more than one, and no one ever explicitly asked me if I'm seeing anyone else, but I also wouldn't tell them. Right. So that would be, I never lied. So now I'm being semantic. But you can easily verify whether that's something that's a behavior worth doing by asking, or I could have asked myself, are you cool with her doing the same? Are you cool with being around people who operate like that? And if my answer is no, then I know my answer. It's not complicated. Just ask ourselves, the things I'm doing that I'm justifying, do I want to be surrounded by people who think in that way? Probably wouldn't trust them. Right. But let's say I judge the Vidal of that time and went, I'm going to draw a conclusion on the man that you are. Right. Now, if a person is unwilling to grow and develop, that's different. But in the same way we expect grace, unless we're perfect right now, if we're not perfect right now, then somebody is giving us grace in an area of our imperfections. And so, in that space of grace, where do we extend that for others? And where do we extend accountabilities? And I'm more so talking to my men, obviously. I'm focused on helping men. But none of this stuff is going to change until we stop perceiving ourselves as prey. Right. All these channels about the modern woman doing this and that, there's an element of it that's exposing things to men who are naive. Fair enough. But I don't think I've seen any that offer any solutions other than just got to protect your peace, which is saying that you're a prey, bro. It is what it is. The modern woman is just a big bad predator that wants to take advantage of you. You're a prey. And not looking at what you're doing, how you're showing up, and frankly, how you're a predator, if you want to use the predator-prey system in your ways, and balance it out and go, okay, I need to become more than I am to get more than I have. But you can't want more than you have while staying as you are. And so that might look like, let me go get some more information. And let me get information that aligns with what I'm looking to obtain. So if you want a healthy relationship, if you want more money, if you want a better health, then I'm not going to be watching only content on the absence of those things. I was like, are there people out there who are experiencing what I want? They clearly know something I don't. They clearly have skills that I don't. They clearly are willing to do things that I don't. But as we talked about earlier, maybe I don't want to know. Because then I'd have to be willing to take accountability and go, the results I'm getting right now is my fault. And so I don't think this conversation is going to, it may shift a person or two in the protecting peace conversation. But it's understanding that protecting your peace is a waste of time. What you're trying to do is transcend your pain. Transcend your pain to where you can look at people as human beings, flawed. Right. Because if you're looking at them as anything else, you're a liar. Because you're flawed. And it's hard sometimes because it's like, man, this person did this thing to me. And you feel that resentment, and the resentment conversation will be a different podcast because that goes deep. But yeah, we're just in an ecosystem right now, a transitional point in male-female relationships where a lot of people have been betrayed by women. A lot of people have been betrayed by men. And with that betrayal comes resentment. And then the ecosystems we're in, namely social media, are giving you information about other people who've been betrayed. And so you feel like the algorithm is planet Earth. Right. And so if a man gets betrayed by a woman gets betrayed by a man, she's going to seek a place of understanding. And back in the day, that might have been your community, right? That may have been the local church. That might have been your parents but you'd have a more balanced outlook because some would be in happy relationships, some wouldn't be, But today on the internet, I can go look up, why did he cheat on me? And you'll get a funnel of one perspective. And almost all the perspectives will blame the person completely and say likely that it had nothing to do with anything you were. It's hard to swallow. I mean, imagine just getting betrayed and having to go, man, how did I contribute to that? It's easier to be like, I never want to interact with anyone ever again. I never want to put my heart on the line again. And live from pain and call it peace. So, yeah, protecting your peace is just protecting the pain you don't want to re-experience. And your future now becomes a reflection of the past trauma that you claim to have transcended. And every person becomes a potential source of pain. And then there's no grace in the way that we all need grace on ourselves. And what the answer is, it's always been the same thing. Courage. Courage to face the thing that we fear the most. It's commonplace for people to go, God, this and that, and yet live almost completely in fear and doubt. Completely in fear and doubt. I don't want to take any risks because I'm powerless and the world has all the power and all the things. We'll show up and go, God can do anything and yada yada blah blah blah. Right. Or watch a motivational video or speak motivation. It's like, it's hard, yes. It's risky, yes. But there's no such thing as risk-free success in any endeavor, health, relationships, and wealth. So it's like, okay, if I go the risk-free route, what can I expect? I can expect it's 11:20. Perfect. But yeah, if I go the risk-free route, then all I can expect is what I have right now or worse. But it'll never get better without changing anything. And change always means risking doing something you hadn't done before this. So, yeah. Protecting your peace is overrated. If you need to take time to heal, there is a real space for that. But be wary of developing an identity around celebrating isolation and developing an ego and a pride about that, as if it's superior or can ever be superior to a high quality relationship. It can never be superior to it. It can never be superior to it. But it is always better than not being in a situation then that is harmful and negative. But also be mindful of conflating and projecting the negative experiences of your past on everybody else you'll ever meet. And be an 80-year-old alone. So, yeah, that's all I have to say on that, Cowboy. You have anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Awesome. We'll wrap it up here.